Lama, was recognized for her lifelong dedication to humanitarian efforts, compassion, and spiritual leadership. Her message of love and service has touched millions and contributed to global harmony. 2024, Emmanuel Macron, for visionary leadership in peace building, innovation, and global collaboration. Following the tragic assassination of Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, the Boston Global Forum established the Shinzo Abe Initiative for Peace and Security. His vision continues to inspire efforts toward peace, ensuring his legacy lives on through initiatives that foster global understanding. In 2025, we honor Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, a spiritual luminary and humanitarian whose tireless efforts for reconciliation and compassion have brought peace to millions. Through his leadership, he has built bridges between faiths and nations, embodying the harmony and wisdom the world needs most. All recipients of the World Leader for Peace and Security Award now form the BGF AIWS family, a fellowship of moral leadership guiding humanity in the age of AI. To continue their legacy, the Boston Global Forum launches the World Leader Spirit Symposium, a forum for these visionary leaders to share wisdom, mentor new generations, and advance peace through ethics, innovation, and dialogue. As we celebrate 10 years of global leadership for peace and security, we reaffirm our shared mission to make the world more compassionate, enlightened, and secure for all.
And now we have a special video presentation to honor Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, founder of the Art of Living Foundation.
In the modern age, technology has connected us like never before, turning the globe into a village. And yet, conflicts still divide us. What can unite the human family? First, let's step back to the 1950s. As ancient wisdom was being lost to time, a young boy was found in deep meditation in a small village in South India. His name was Ravi Shankar. From the beginning, he combined both worlds, the ancient and the modern, age-old values and the latest science. A prodigy even at the age of 4, he shocked teachers when they found him reciting by memory ancient passages from the Bhagavad Gita. His viewpoint also expanded beyond normal geographic borders. This child would tell neighbors, "I have family everywhere." Since then, he has gone on to leave a unique mark on the world, inspiring millions through wisdom, through service, and through celebration. From his youth, Gurudev has revived ancient knowledge and given people practical tools and techniques to improve their lives, helping reduce stress and anxiety, find calm, improve sleep, improve relationships.
It is stress which is the cause of violence. Whether it is violence towards oneself or the aggression that one has towards others, the basic of this is stress.
One of Gurudev's unique offerings to break the chain of stress and aggression is sky breath meditation, or Sudarshan Kriya, a powerful breathing technique that he introduced in 1981 when he founded the Art of Living. He soon started teaching handfuls of people in India, all by word of mouth. And word spread, and soon people the world over, from Norway to Argentina, from Mongolia to Nova Scotia, were inviting him to teach in their homes and communities. Since the movement's humble origins, the Art of Living has grown to reach over 180 countries and 800 million people. Gurudev started the service projects of the Art of Living by saving a sinking school which had no phones. This act, housed in his own home, grew into more than 1,300 free schools across India, including some of the country's least developed regions. These schools now educate and feed more than 100,000 children. His vision has grown from there to inspire volunteers globally and in our own local communities. Projects range from education and peace building to the environment and mental health and wellness. Across North and South America and Europe, trainers have touched the lives of over 350,000 students in over 250 schools. Youth learn effective techniques to reduce anxiety, manage emotions, and as a result, decrease infractions of violence.
It's really giving us a framework to make sure that the physical and emotional components of student development are part of our students' everyday experience.
I didn't know how to deal with my stress. I lost my sister, I lost my grandma, I lost my great-grandpa. In my past times, I used to hit people and do violent stuff, but now I just don't. I leave it behind.
These techniques have been taught on over 150 college campuses, some even offering courses for credit. Students are reporting better mental health, less anxiety, and more social connection and interconnection.
Just got to campus and I was really struggling with a lot of mental health issues. I had social anxiety. I couldn't even make eye contact like I'm making with you right now. I think really the only reason I'm able to stand here with a smile on my face right now is because of Sky Campus Happiness.
The Veterans Program has brought stress and trauma relief to veterans and their families. The subject of fascinating scientific research, it has also been featured in documentaries like Free the Mind and Almost Sunrise.
I'm not taking any medication for anxiety. I'm not taking any sleep aids. I'm not taking any meds. That is not a giant step, that's a giant leap.
In 1991, Gurudev launched courses in prisons. This program helps to break the cycle of violence and offers lasting change to prison inmates. To date, over 800,000 prisoners around the world have been touched by this project.
I should look forward to fight. I'm now also doing this course with total and technical person. I can now walk away from the fight.
In our cities, Gurudev's programs are helping to build trust and peace in communities, including building bridges between law enforcement and former gang members. Gurudev's work for dialogue and harmony have made him a noble ambassador of peace. Through his inspiration and trainings, thousands of militants and terrorists have laid down their arms and chosen peace.
We have been taught to operate guns and train other youth. But now, since meeting Sri Sri, we realized we had chosen the wrong path. We now want to spread love and non-violence in Kashmir.
In the Middle East, Gurudev has visited Iraq several times and addressed peace conferences to bring hope to the nation. In the 2010s, he led peace talks in South America. The result helped halt a vicious 52-year-old cycle of violence between the FARC and the Colombian government.
We hope that we Colombians can soon embrace the Gandhian principle of nonviolence. We agree with Maestro Shankar.
The Art of Living has also been working towards healing the environment. Over 70 rivers and thousands of water bodies in India have been revived. And in the face of natural and man-made disasters, Gurudev has inspired a wave of service. He has mobilized trauma and disaster relief for people in crisis around the world.
The Art of Living Foundation, for 25 years, has worked on programs promoting peace, combating violence, and empowering our youth. I want to thank you for your vision and hard work. of making all this possible.
Gurudev, Shri Shri, thank you for what you believe in. Thank you for your belief in unity. Thank you for your effort to bring people together.
When asked about the motto for his organization, Gurudev often says it's making life a celebration, and that we come to see the whole world as one family. Out of this vision of family, of humanity, of celebration was born the World Culture Festival, a global event series on an Olympic scale. It's brought together over 7 million people from 155 countries in Bangalore, Berlin, New Delhi, and Washington, D.C. The most recent event hosted over 1 million people on the National Mall in D.C. and the largest in-person meditation event in U.S. history. From world leaders to the tens of thousands of performers and the enthusiastic participants, World Culture Festival is a glimpse of the world in all its diversity, united as one family. Gurudev's vision for the world is to see a smile on every face and to create a stress-free, violence-free society.
We're now going to have some remarks of honor and presentation by Governor Michael Dukakis and Mr. Nguyen on.
Today, we are more than a ceremony to honor World Leader of Peace and Security Award 2025. We start on journey for a new society, for the better world in AI, in digital. So, on behalf of Governor Michael Dukakis and Boston Global Forum leaders, I'm very honored to read remark your holiness meeting with leaders, scholars, and friends. It is the profound honor and privilege to stand before you today to recognize one of the world's great spiritual and humanitarian leaders, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, as a 2025 World Leader for Peace and Security Award recipient. From the beginning, the Boston Global Forum has sought to celebrate the whose leadership transcends borders, politics, and ideology. Individuals who vision uplift humanity and demise us of the moral foundation of peace. Gurudev, your embodied beside that spirit. Through the act of living foundation, you have touched millions of lives across continents, teaching peace not as abstract idea, but a daily practice rooted in compassion, forgiveness, and understanding. You have solved that inner peace is not spread from world peace, that governance, technology, and progress must always be guided by the light of conscience. Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar has dedicated his life to building bridge among faith and culture, to unwavering wisdom, universality, and to nurturing compassion, love, and mutual understanding toward stress-free, violence-free in our work, guided by Gandhian principle of non-violence. You have advanced reconciliation and healing in conflict-struck regions such as Colombia, Cote d'Ivoire, India, Iraq, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Venezuela. At the moment when our work feels fractured by war, polarization, and fear, your voice has reminded us that reconciliation begins in the human heart. You have built bridge between nation and faith, between reason and spirituality, and between humanity and nature. The Boston Global Forum and AIWS Society are deeply inspired by your message that technology must serve humanity, not dominate it. That the intelligence of machine must always be guided by the wisdom of spirit. Through the AIWS model, we seek to bring spiritual and interfaith value into the digital age, to build a world when innovation and compassion advance hand in hand. In honoring you, we affirm that future of peace depends on both ethics, innovation, and moral imagination. As we celebrate the 10th anniversary of this award, whose past recipients include world leaders such as Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, Chancellor Angela Merkel, and President Emmanuel Macron. I'm sorry, cannot say all leaders who honor because it's too long. We see in you, Gurudev, a beacon of continuity, the union of spiritual leadership and ethical responsibility in an age identified by artificial intelligence and digital power. On behalf of the Boston Global Forum AIWS family, we express our deepest respect and gratitude. Now, the 2025 World Leader for Peace and Security, Gurudev Sri Ravi Shankar, became a distinguished member of the BGF AIWS family. From my heart, thank you. Your Holiness, your life work reminds us that peace is not merely absence of conflict, but active creation of harmony within individuals, among societies, and across our shared planet. May your example continue to guide global leaders and citizens alike toward a more compassionate, secure, and enlightened world. Congratulations, Gurudev, and thank you for your unwavering service to humanity. We honor Gurudev today. That means we honor all leaders, all people, all contribution and dedication to the journey for peace and security, and special for the work in AIH. And all of us today, we together with Gurudev, with our mission, our journey to build BGF AIWS family for very, very important very significant, very historical journey and road ahead. And we warm heart and welcome from all of us today. We honor all of us today came here together with our this very, very important and significant journey. Thank you so much.
Gurudev, we would love to invite you to address us and to share some words and thoughts with us, please.
Your Excellency, Governor Michel Duques, Mr. Nagul O'Ton, and distinguished leaders, professors, and participants in today's program. I accept this honor from the World Global Forum, Boston Global Forum for World Leaders Spirit and Peace and Security. And I dedicate this honor to all the volunteers who have been tirelessly working for peace of various NGOs around the world. Peace and security often are said in one breath. Though a lot is done for security, very little attention is given for peace. Peace building is absolutely essential. And the root cause of conflicts have to be nipped at the very bud. And for this, peace education, I feel, is very essential. And inspiration through the forum like Boston Global Forum, which upholds the moral, spiritual, and the ethics of human existence, plays a very important role. Peace cannot come just by words, it has to translate into action. Where there is conflict, we need mediators who can build the bridges. And people, if we have to build bridges, they have to be free from any type of agenda or bias. Just compassion and clarity in action will make the way for it. The moral and spiritual force is essential to quell the distress and mistrust that our society has formed over the years. I'm glad that artificial intelligence world society is joining hands in this, very noble cause to bring peace and even reality. The purpose of technology is to bring comfort. And we have to question ourselves in this age, are there enough comfort? Yes, physical comfort is there, but mental health crises have skyrocketed. One of the biggest challenges today, we have mental health issues. Whether it is in the school, in school districts or the college campuses, the prison, at home, everywhere in the world, depression and mental health issues, suicide issues are rising. So it's very important to bring peace to the doors of people. Darkness cannot come to light, but light has to go to the dark where there is darkness. And this is an effort that all of us will have to be engaged in making it reality. So I once again thank the forum for honoring me with this award. And I'm sure this poem will continue to inspire millions across the globe to walk the path of non-violence, to walk the path of peace, and to give this message of clarity in mind, purity in heart, sincerity in action, as the very theme or goal of one's life. In short, I would say, let us all dream for a violence-free and stress-free society, a disease-free body, a mind with happiness and joy, and a heart full of compassion and resilience, and a creativity that brings more joy and happiness in society than destruction. Thank you very much for being here. Let's all wish our governor happy birthday.
And also, Gurudev prepared for 70th year. That is he in the 70th year. Already.
Next year.
Next year, but next month you will become 70.
Yeah.
So very special year.
Thank you.
So now that we have concluded the ceremonial parts of our afternoon, it's a real joy to be able to engage in dialogue with Gurudev. And I invite all of you to ask questions, make comments so that we can have a discussion. In particular, around the themes that we've articulated today and around which we collectively work, namely how it is that we can enhance world pro-social and diminish antisocial behavior. That's the way I tend to think about it. I'm a psychiatrist and a neurologist and a brain scientist. And as we heard from Gurudev, there is a mental health crisis right now. We're in an era where we're understanding more and more about the brain, and yet we're also in an era where we can integrate such new knowledge with ancient knowledge from different cultures around how it is that we can transcend our selfish concerns, transcend our differences, and attempt to be the sorts of bridges that Gurudev just described. So maybe I will start by first wishing Governor Dukakis well and thanking him for joining us. And do we have a mic on Gurudev so that we can hear what he has to say when we're having this discussion? And do we have a mic to pass around the room? We have one mic. Okay. So perhaps
I
I'll.
can start, Dave.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay.
So perhaps I'll start.
Okay.
And we had a chance to chat briefly inside, for which I'm grateful. And I almost want to repeat a version of the question I posed to you because I think it's central, and I think that your answer was enlightening. And that is that, what we've seen, what we know is that you've actually not just spoken about these things, but you've gone to centers of conflict and you have worked with the two opposing sides in what many would seem to think are intractable conflicts, often with ideologies where there's a totalitarian or an absolutist view that one side feels that it is right and it is the moral one, while perhaps committing very immoral acts in the name of it. And then the other side feels the same way. And so where does one begin? How have you been able to be effective in mediating conflict in such situations?
Yes, it very tricky situations. Whenever you need to play a role of mediator, I feel it's something that where you simply first listen, not to say anything. You listen to the other side, and then basically the trust that need to be rebuilt again. Once the trust is built, all other arguments, will all fall in place. Usually in resolving a conflict, the normal procedure everybody does is you sit with the problems. You ask both sides to come up with their problems and you sit with the problems. And with the problems, you only get more problems. I would take a different view. I would ask both the parties, this is the problem. What is your solution? Is that what my ask for them? So they come up with 10 solutions on it because it is their solution to their problem. Someone else's solution never fits to someone's problem. So they need to find their own solution. So when they come with those solutions, I usually sit with both the solutions. If there are 10 solutions from both sides, 5 may match, 6 may match, 5 may not match. So we go with wherever it matches and then deal the other ones which don't match. But by that time, trust gets built. And one more thing I would say, we never give up because conflicts cannot be resolved overnight. We need to have infinite patience, and we must know we convey more through our vibration and presence than through words or arguments.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I'm going to take this mic and walk around now, and Gurudev is going to have another mic. So we will open it up. Please share your thoughts and questions. And yeah.
Jai Gurudev. Gurudev, my name is Mudit Sharma, and I have been following you for quite a while. My question is actually related to the mental health or maybe emotions. So I hope it's all okay. So like when I was very young, I used to feel like the year is like an endless, or like month is like the endless. But like from the past few years, especially I would say after COVID, I feel like the year starting and ending very quickly. I feel like it was January and then suddenly I'm in the November or December. So is it like with everyone or is it just with me? I'm not sure. The years are flying very, very quickly.
That says you are very happy. When you are happy, time flies. When you are unhappy, time appears to be too long.
Other questions for Gurudev?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Sri. It's a real honor for me to see you again in Massachusetts. I first met you when you came here in 2016. So it's a blessing for all of us in Massachusetts to have your presence. My question for you is that you always taught us compassion and peace. How do we inject or provide some compassion, some peaceful idea in the head of dictators like Mr. Putin, who is invading Ukraine, or Mr. Xi, the supreme leader of China, who's threatened Taiwan? So how do we make some sense into their head regarding peace and compassion?
Well, let me tell you, I don't have solution for all the problems. One thing I would say is that, many times people have a threat perception which may not be correct, which is not the reality. When you see that someone is a threat to you, you overact. And that's how most wars are happening. I would say WAR, war is worst act of reason. For every act, there is a reason, and this is the worst act of reason that people come up with. Here again, I would say we need bridges, people who do not, label any party, but be neutral and connect everyone and clear the misunderstanding, clear the threat perception, which is again an illusion. You see?
Yeah, we are in an era now, and part of the Boston Global Forum is to combine this sort of wisdom with the scientific understanding that we're gaining with things like brain imaging. And your words, Gurudev, are so prescient. We have studied the threat systems in the brain, in the human brain, that are evolutionarily conserved from reptiles and even earlier. And they're adaptive evolutionarily, because if a lion is running at you, you have to gear up and fight and flight and so on and so forth. But what happens in certain forms of mental illness and in society through manipulation is that the threat system gets inappropriately activated. So that which is normally adaptive starts to tell the rest of our brain and our mind that there is indeed a threat, and as you say, that's an illusion, and yet it seems real. And so your techniques, I think, are very powerful to be able to help people to recognize such illusions and not be governed by them.
Yes, not to be rattled by. Also, Professor, this another issue that today our population is facing is loneliness. Again, loneliness is also related to certain, dopamines and other chemicals in the body, hormones in the body. Here again, meditation has been found to be very, very effective tool to get over the feeling of loneliness. In spite of having every good possible situation around you, you still feel nothing is good. Is all your own perception. And this perception needs to change. Similarly, our expression, we don't know how to express ourselves better. Our emotions are not expressed well. So one feels stifled and restricted inside. So two things happen. One is ability to perceive better. Improved perception. Second is improved expression as well. To make others understand what you really want to convey to them.
Yeah. Professor Nancy Donovan in our department is a geriatric neuropsychiatrist, and she has studied loneliness. And at first people said, oh, why are you studying this? This is not hard science. This is a social construct. And she persisted. We funded her. Dr. Singhal would know. And she's done exquisite work showing the biological changes that are associated with loneliness and that even can predispose to things like Alzheimer's disease and certainly worsen it. We are social animals, and social exclusion and loneliness takes a toll. And the other side that we were just talking about is this notion that leads to polarization of in-group and out-group, which again was adaptive at one point when we were in tribal groups, prehistory and unfortunately currently as well. Us versus them, and there's now evidence that the brain processes even moral decisions and judgments differently depending upon whether the person's in your group or the other group. And what you're saying, which is the core of wisdom, is that we are all the in-group, right? We have to realize that, and your meditation techniques, like Sky, work with the parasympathetic nervous system to calm down, reduce inflammation, and the techniques of thinking and the concepts that you share so generously are not dissimilar to some of the cognitive behavioral approaches that we've taken. And what you're teaching us is that this wisdom has been present and needs to be integrated. Yes.
I just wanted to follow up on what you just said and ask, do you have any insights about how we might change the structure of social media systems to make them less tending towards creating polarization?
Yeah, I would tell everyone the social media is inevitable in life, but we should have a judicial use of that. Use it as much as you can handle, number one. And one need not feel so obliged to, respond to every social media response that comes to you. I think it's already with so many fake news and fake information, that feverishness which was there 4 years back, 5 years back, is not there today. It's already fading out, So I would say people need to be engaged in social media, but also give importance to real life time. Meet with people in real time and engage with people in real time. If you see in a dining table, even in a home, four people are sitting and eating, they're all buried in their own cell phones. So they're not conversing with each other. This sort of disconnection that can happen in a group must be avoided, especially when you are with people in real time. What social media cannot give you is the vibration, or it cannot stimulate that, dopamines within you and serotonin in your, physical presence, not just by social media.
Guruji, thank you for gracing us with your presence here today. Love to hear more about your broader worldviews with the AI, particularly as human intelligence may be surpassed by artificial intelligence soon.
To me, AI has a different connotation. I say it is absolute intelligence. Don't forget there is an absolute intelligence. We are in an ocean of intelligence called consciousness. And so we need to be in touch with that as well. And AI, of course, we should take the best advantage of AI and see that the misuse of it is prevented.
Other questions, comments? Yes.
Hello. My name is Mona Shamsi, and hopefully I can bring the AI World Society to the Middle East next year and host you guys. My question for you is, as AI becomes more powerful, what ethical principles should guide its development and use, and how would you unite the Indian community with the Middle East?
Say that again, please.
As AI becomes more powerful, using your principles and teaching over the decades that you've been spreading around the world, how would you unite the Indian community and the Middle East community with your teaching for the next generation?
With using AI?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, it will be very useful. See, I'm talking to you now in English, and people in China can hear this in Chinese. People in Mongolia can hear this in Mongolian. AI has done tremendous, made a tremendous difference and contributed to connectivity in the world. For example, in Russia, though lessons are being taught there was someone always translating. Now people can hear in my own voice, and I was told, people who are 70, 80-year-old people, and they are so moved because I could speak to them in their language. So this type of connectivity increases. Dissemination of information is faster through AI. All this is for the advantage of human communication and evolution. At the same time, there are a lot of misuse of it also. Someone can take my voice and do some fake thing and spread some fake thing. That's also happening. That is where, the moral and ethical values need to be integrated with AI.
Gurudev, though you just said that you don't have solution for everything, I want one solution for humanity from you. That can you please devise a method humans start finding difference between need and greed? Because that's the reason of all the ruckus right now in the world.
That's exactly what the spiritual lessons do to you. It just makes you aware of your needs and checks the greed away from you. Greed is because of short-sighted, understanding about one's life. When you see life from a broader perspective, greed has no place there. Hatred has no place there. So we come from a very different perspective to life and to society.
So, good afternoon, Mr. Shankar. My name is Rosie. I would say that I'm quite associated with Boston Global Forum. First of all, I want to thank you for your dedication to world peace, and what you have done is extremely phenomenal and extraordinary. Truly, thank you. So, my question is not quite AI based or mental health related, but I've always wondered, as a kid, where do conflicts come from? And I do believe that some people are just evil by nature, which is okay, they were born evil, they were born malicious like that, and they just want to kind of fight people. So my question is, since do you think that a society where there's absolute peace and love can be obtained, or do you think it's just really unpragmatic, but heroes will be born like you who are willing to dedicate their life into making the world a better place?
I would like to say here it's not only me. We all have the ability to bring something. In whatever scale, it doesn't matter what scale it is. But each of us can bring some comfort to people around us. And that's what we want. It's in our nature, right? If we create conflict, if we get into a fight, it is just because we are stressed out. Someone is stressed out, they don't be normal, and because it becomes normal because they don't know how to get rid of those stress. Number one. Second is I would say every child born on this planet has come to this planet as a bundle of joy. It's full of bubbling enthusiasm. Nobody is born on this planet as a bad or evil guy. You see, what we can see as evil is only due to circumstances, situation, and wrong understanding or lack of understanding. These things made a person like that. So inside every culprit, if you peep in there, you will find a victim crying for help. If you heal the victim, culprit will disappear. That's my experience. So I see only goodness in every individual, and only their behavior is bad because of their condition. And they can be deconditioned.
Good afternoon, Guruji.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your presence. It's a moral dilemma, the question I'm about to ask, and I think you would be the best vessel to answer this question. Artificial intelligence companies are now allowing users to seek comfort with the platform that they're devising. Would it truly be problematic if they would seek divine intervention or advice from those platforms? Because all these, the metadata that is being fed, it is a mirror image of us, what's happening in society, whatever. With the goodness comes its flaws as well. So if people start going to it for divine advice or spiritual advice, would you, as someone spiritual yourself, see that as problematic for us as a society? Just a thought or question. Sorry.
Spirituality cannot bring any problems. It only can aid human evolution and wellness, well-being. Having said this, I would say, yeah, whenever you have to face some challenges, you need resilience. When the failures come, you need to be resilient. And spirituality gives that strength to get over, those hurdles in life, and to be resilient when you have to face failures. Third is it will also keep your energy and enthusiasm higher. In this sense, yes, I'm always looking for, bringing spirituality to people's life. That is what can bring them inner peace and happiness. Does this answer your question?
I'm truly sorry, Guruji,
Tell me.
for following up. My question was, would it truly be problematic in terms of human civilization or harmony, whatever it is, that once that we start relying on intelligence created by us to give spiritual advice on a personal level? Because these days the models are being trained to your personal preferences. So like if I'm supposed to use it, it starts answering questions to me the way I want it. So a form of bias starts creating.
It only gives you what you're feeding, right?
Exactly.
So you cannot totally rely only on that. You have to use your the intelligence, the absolute intelligence that has been given to you as well. So it should be a partial reliance in artificial intelligence. You see all the chat GPT and all these, they say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. They do have a right to make mistakes. So you must not take it as a gospel truth. So they do err a lot of time. Does this answer? You find errors in them. Sometimes they give information which is erroneous. And so you need to look into your own intuitive ability. You have something called intuitive ability. That's what we are missing. Along with absolute intelligence, we should not ignore or neglect our intuitive ability, which is a must in any venture, Guru. And here is what the spirituality helps. Spirituality helps you in enhancing your sharpness of intellect and highlighting your intuitive ability.
The ability to see spirituality as transcending any one religion and looking for commonalities is a very healing thing for the world in and of itself. And so it's something I think that everybody deeply appreciates about your teachings. Other questions or
Gurudev, I have a question about communicating the spiritual values to young people, because they have a question that how relevant are these values to our practical life? When they see the world in action in society and they see people with not so obvious spiritual values winning, they want to know the importance of these values and their relevance for their practical life.
First of all, we should make a difference between the religious values and spiritual values. Often the line is very thin and very blurred, and people confuse the religious practice as the spiritual. You go to a temple, church, or mosque, you do some rituals, you think you are very spiritual, and you have done your part of it. This is not going to help them. Of course, in some extent, it may give them some solace, but ultimately for them to grow in their intuitive ability or their spiritual strength is different. This is what we must make people aware. Again, if you see that in religion, there was only one Jesus, but there are 72 sects of Christianity. There is only one Lord Buddha. There are 36, sects of Buddhism, each claiming they are the real ones. And then similarly in Judaism, you have many sects, the Orthodox. And Islam, there are 135 sects of Islam. If you see Hinduism, it's countless. You can't even count. That many sects are there. So keeping them aside, they have their own value. I don't say you should be irreligious. They have their values. Let's keep them aside. But spiritual values is something that I would say is the backbone of our ethics and moral, values. You don't want to do something to others which you don't want others to do to you. This is the baseline. In business, I say, in any business, you have a vendor and you have a customer. You don't like your vendors to cheat you, so you shouldn't cheat your customers as well, right? So that is the ethics, that is the backbone of morality. This is what we must cultivate. The character is cultivated through spirituality in an individual. Then they become broad-minded, they become more acceptable, and everything else will flow.
Thank you. Gurudev, I love what you said in your opening remarks about how trust is built more through vibration and through presence than through words. I wonder, can vibration, energy, presence be transmitted through technology, whether it's a phone call or a video call? And if not, how can we build trust in situations where we don't have the ability to sit around a kitchen table, whether it's our workplaces or our social environments?
I think to some extent, yes. Even through technology also, you can transform the vibration of peace. But I don't know to what extent people can receive it. It also depends on the receptor. Not just one who gets it.
Gurudev, you have your online apps and you have other mediums through which we experience meditation. But since we're talking about AI and we're here in real life, I was wondering if it would be possible at all to get a meditation by you, if that is something on the agenda.
I think we'll do it another time because they all just had meal more than an hour ago or 2 hours ago. Okay, done?
Yeah, I didn't quite catch hear what you just said about what.
She asked whether we can all have a
Yes,
meditation now.
Yeah,
I said we'll do it another time.
yeah.
Because now, just now people all had their meals. So you need to leave 3 hours gap for meditation after you have had a full meal. Yeah.
Great. Was there another question?
It was the same question.
Same question, okay. Other questions, yes?
So congratulations receiving the great awards. And I'd like to know, and please share your ideas. Why do humans count wars?
Why do humans do what?
Why do humans count wars, like World War I, World War II? Sounds like humans are expecting World War III, World War IV. So I'm a politician, but I'm also a historian, and I'm curious always. When I was 6 years old.
Yeah. If you ask any movie director, you'll ask them what would be a successful movie. If it's all just peace or there is conflict, they would say when there is fight, that movie is more successful. People love to watch wars. People love to watch wrestling. People love to watch all these things because somewhere deep inside that instinct is there, that survival instinct, and to oppose. If that could be channeled through martial arts, or art and music and culture, then there won't be war. Usually, if you see people who are engaged in sports, engaged in charitable work, engaged in something to channel that energy, they will not be interested in war. Those who are idle, who do not channel their energy much into this, are only self-centered all the time, they love wars.
Thank you.
So, one of the real challenges is if most places, most people, most schools follow this, you only need a few to cause a lot of trouble. And this is something we've been wrestling with in the Boston Global Forum, and especially with AI, is the notion of bad actors. You can have 1,000 people doing good, and now, especially with technology and AI, you only need 1 or 2, let alone a whole, tyrannical government or something. And then the speed and the scale with which the destruction or the damage or the manipulation can be done is very hard to address. Do you have any suggestions for how we can address that problem? If even 99% of the people follow this path, but the 1%, and they may not be evil, but for circumstances or other things, don't, and now they have these powerful technologies or can wage war. Any advice how we can try to address this situation?
First of all, we should thank them. In the sense, they keep you on your toes. Otherwise, you will go to sleep. Good people to be active, you need someone who are there doing something negative. So that keeps everyone else more active, more busy. And see, often we find negative people or people with a negative tendency or mindset, they are super active. Whereas people with very positive tendencies, positive mindset, they say, tomorrow, mañana, I will do it later. The sort of laid back attitude you can find in people with good intentions. So I think we should take them as an inspiration to do something good.
Yes.
Following up on your point that you just made, that positive people have a laid-back attitude. The same carries over in the journalistic sphere, where journalists will not cover. You've made peace initiatives from Colombo to Colombia, and from Sri Lanka, all over the world, and you're here receiving this award. It needs to be highlighted more by the journalistic community, and they just don't make that noise for peace as they do for violence, as to your point also.
Yeah, that was the case for a long time, but today social media has put a challenge for them. It's no longer, no media house can dictate the news. Today social media writes in, yeah. So things are changing.
Other questions? Comments? Yes?
Just a comment. The question on World War I and II and III was done by the ex-defense minister of Japan.
I think they lost the count because there were many wars fought before. The historians say in the known recorded history, there was only 293 years of known human history where there was no wars. Otherwise, there has been some or other war here and there, but not on the scale of the world, of course. Yeah.
Gurudev, my name is Vasundhara. As you were saying earlier, that you should see good intention towards everyone, and I follow that religiously. Sometimes I get comments from my friends that you don't see the other side of people, and you just believe as it is. You don't see what people have intent to do. What would be your advice on that?
Here, of course, we have to keep our eyes and ears open. We can't be naive and say, oh, everything is goody therapy, nothing like that. We have to see the reality. At the same time, see if someone is behaving bad, why they are doing so. What is the cause behind such a behavior? If the behavior from certain person in responsibility is like that, it is because of the wrong information to that person and a threat perception that they are having, which is not correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yes.
Jai Gurudev. Gurudev, can you teach an AI to meditate? Why I'm asking this question is, if yes, what would a meditating AI look like in terms of when it's answering stuff? Because we have had a conversation about biases, false information, etc. And if not, what is so intrinsically human about meditation and spirituality that a computer cannot?
AI can help you to meditate. AI can help, help you to meditate in your own language and your own time. It can keep you that time and everything. It's a tool. It's not a person as such. You must remember, it's not a person. It's a tool.
Other questions, comments?
I think that's it.
Well, you've been tremendously generous with your time, with your wisdom, and we're very appreciative. I'll give to Tuan now. He will tell us what's next.
Thank you, Gurudev. So we move to another very important section, World Leader Spirit Symposium, special commemoration 10th year award 2015 and 2025. You know, we from this year for celebrate 10th year by the Glory Award, World Leader for Peace and Security Award. We have initiated the World Leader who was awarded by Boston Global Forum. Together, we will make contribute better for the world better in this time, especially in this time in the world. So we will make the world leader spirit. I mean, all leaders join together with our BGF AIWS family members. We connect with university and many community innovators also to try to do that and not only think, not only act, and we are movement to help, to hope, to contribute solution, contribute action, and more action. So we hope all of us here join with us in this very special, very significant movement that is, and also we name World Leader Spirit. And we have symposium, we have dinner, for example, gathering with world leader and discuss and try to find out solution for the world and very challenging issue for the world. We name that World Leader Spirit dinner, something like that. And also World Leader Spirit concert with some big concert as a festival of Gurudev do already. We make that is a World Leader Spirit concert here, World Leader. So yeah, today we have a program and announce. We will send all documents to all of us and also to public about this very important. We hope you join us. And now we do for with this program. Now.
So now we're going to transition. I'm wondering whether people would like 5-minute break. And so why don't we take a 5-minute break or so that you could just stand up, breathe, and then at 4 o'clock, we will start in with the next part of the program.
Thank you.
Yes, you can get to take picture.
See you in media.
Also, we would like to invite all speakers today. Speakers can join a picture with Gurudev. Yeah. Nakayama, Ramu, Tom Peterson, Professor Tom Peterson. And this boy hand. And you found. Maybe all speakers. Yep. Oh, we would like to all speakers today join and take picture. Yeah. Tom, Matt, Nancy, please. Yeah, join us. And David, you join us all speakers. Yep, David.
Yeah, I'm here.
David, another David. Yeah, okay. Take picture for Ian Phan. Joy. This moment. I have eagle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you very much. What? Welcome.
How are you?
Of course, I mean, I've never had this
Remember, I used to stay 10 years back here. Oh, yeah. I used to stay after 10 years.
I didn't have taken a proper bath.
Yeah, this is cover.
Đâu, buổi đầu bắt đầu tiếp đến 5 giây sau.
They're staying the hotel. I have friends, I'll go and stay. I used to live in Shrewsbury.
In the same hotel.
No.
I can coach you.
Feeling so thirsty.
Yeah.
Okay, please, let's come back to the table. I know.
You can listen by slide.
How should I do it? Should I give it to someone?
Friends, can we take a seat back? You have to.
Okay, please take your seats. We're going to start now with the next session. The next session.
Sorry, I sit here.
No, where do you live?
Osaka.
Osaka. You come from Japan?
Yes, I come from Japan.
Everybody, please take your seats now.
See, I have never been to Atlanta before, I guess. I have. But one day chance. I have a
This
chance.
next session is
Thank
the
you.
World Leader Spirit Symposium, special commemoration, 10 years of the award. This symposium is in honor of the 10 years, and we're going to start with keynote remarks on a Decade of World Leader for Peace and Security Award by Yasuhide Nakayama, former State Minister of Japan and BGF representative in Japan. Thank you. You have slides?
No,
Okay. Yeah, you can.
Thank you very much, sir.
This makes me like vibrations. If he's thinking sort of more broadly spiritual vibrations, that can be sent. So, but it's a very
So, everybody, good afternoon again. My name is Yasuhide Nakayama. I am a former State Minister of Defense and also Cabinet Office and Foreign Affairs of Japan. So, and also I'm representing DGF Japan and also the Taiwan. So, Governor Michael Dukakis, Mr. Nouveau Antoine, distinguished leaders, scholars, and friends, and dear members of the Boston Global Forum family. It is a great honor and deep joy to stand here today at the Harvard's Law House, a place of history, wisdom, and friendship, to celebrate 10 remarkable years of the World Leader for Peace and Security Award. Today's ceremony is especially meaningful because November 3rd is not only the day we mark a decade of peace leadership, but also the birthday of Governor Michael Dukakis, a man whose life has embodied moral courage, public service, and compassion for all humanity. Governor Dukakis, on behalf of all of us here and around the world, I wish he already left, but I wish his heartfelt happy birthday, and your life continues to remind us that true leadership is not measured by power or position, but by conscious humanity and love for people. And I actually brought a small gift for him, but he already left. So I give this my gift from Japan to Mr. Tuan.
This is a towel cup for Japanese Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty in AIH. Thank you. So, and if I may share something personal, November 3rd also has a special meaning in Japan. It is a cultural day, a national holiday today in Japan that celebrates peace, freedom, and the love of learning. And for me, this date carries an even deeper meaning. It is also my wife's birthday. Thank you very much on behalf of my wife. With her kind permission, I am standing here before you today. So as I celebrate this day with all of you, the Boston Global Forum family, I also give thanks to my own family who gives me the strength to serve. When this hours was first presented in 2015 to Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and Chancellor Angela Merkel, it sent a timeless message to the world that peace and security are not achieved through domination, but through dialogue, trust, and the courage to choose cooperation over conflict. Since then, the Boston Global Forum has honored extraordinary leaders, Ban Ki-moon, and so on, too many great people. And each lighting a path of hope and humanity. And today we honor Sri Ravi Shankar, a spiritual leader who reminds us that true peace begins within the human heart in compassion, forgiveness, and understanding. As a Japanese, I feel deeply connected to this mission. Japan's post-war path has been one of peace, not imposed, but chosen with conscience. We rebuilt our nation through innovation, education, and respect for human dignity. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, the first recipient of this award, believed that peace must stand on both principle and partnership. His vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific was not only a policy, but moral compass, a call uphold freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. And now Japan enters a new chapter. For the first time in our history, we have a woman prime minister, Sanae Takaichi, who carries forward Abe's vision with courage, compassion, and grace. She shows that true strength means harmony and inclusion, not force or division. We are now standing at the doorway of a new era, the age of artificial intelligence. Technology gives us great power, but peace still requires wisdom. Machines can analyze data, but only the human heart can understand. The Boston Global Forum and the AI World Society remind us that progress without ethics is empty, and peace without humanity is fragile. The AIWS Government 24/7 initiative, which Japan proudly supports, it is not just a digital concept. It is a new philosophy of governance. It redefines leadership as continuous service, intelligent, ethical, and responsive. A model that countries like Vietnam are now pioneering for the world. Building on this foundation, through the AIWS Government 24/7 and the AIWS Digital Asset Standards Initiative, we are shaping a world where technology truly serves humanity and where innovation is guided by ethics and conscience. Japan believes that technology must never be used for control, but for harmony. This is Japan's enduring spirit to use knowledge for peace and to make coexistence the highest form of strength. 10 years ago, Governor Dukakis and Mr. Nguyen Antoine planted the seed of this award. Today, that seed has grown into a strong tree, its roots deep in moral conviction, its branches reaching across nations, bearing the fruits of friendship, compassion, and trust. Let us celebrate this 10th anniversary not as an end, but as a new beginning, a renewed promise that even as AI reshape our world, humanity will always remain at its heart. From Japan, and as proud member of this global family, I offer my warmest congratulations to Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar, and my deepest gratitude to Governor Dukakis Mr. Tuan and all members of the Boston Global Forum for your tireless devotion to peace. Together, let us make the next decade from 2025 to 2035 a decade of peace, trust, and human dignity in the age of AI. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hear about how ABN and AIWS can shape peace in the age of AI. And Vibhav Kant Upadhyay, Chairman of the India Center Foundation and Executive Board Member of BGF. Thank you.
My dear brothers and sisters from America, my fellow countrymen, and my fellow human beings. I'm privileged to be here, standing at a very important stage of BGF in Boston, and a very important day, I believe, not only because Governor Dukakis had the birthday, and my dear friend Nakayama, my brother Nakayama's wife's birthday, but also I believe today we have the complete quorum here in the room which can decide the future of AI in this world. Though one member of the quorum, the spirituality, has just left, but I will, on his absence, will include his name and role of taking the AI and development forward. You know, in 2017, there was a meeting in somewhere in San Francisco, around San Francisco or somewhere, I don't remember the place, where, you know, Sam Altman and Tesla's owner, what's his name? Elon Musk, you know, Elon Musk. They both sat down with a couple of, 10, 15 researchers from Google and discussed about whether the AI should be closed or should be open. And what they decided that day has basically decided a direction in the world of AI. That was the day which made a history in direction. And this word direction I will use many times because what is today necessary is direction. You can see AI as in a car. Let's take an example, a car we are driving, where steering is the direction and the speed is AI. The car is the development. So if we have speed but no direction, as you can see, it will meet an accident for sure. It's a disaster. And if we don't look into the speed, that's also a disaster because direction alone cannot give you the desired results, which are going to be required by the human. So human aspiration is something which basically is driving the AI age right now. But let me bring to you something very important, which is very important to note. When we talk about AI, the AI without the element of humanity is useless. And humanity without ethics is also something not very useful. And ethics without moral compass is also a tough challenge. And moral compass without spirituality is guidanceless. And moral compass needs a direction. Spirituality needs a direction. So the top layer is the direction. And then comes various other layers, and then comes the enabler called AI. Then another way I would like to say, what is the context of direction in today's world? The context of direction in today's world is development model. So today's topic, how ADM stands for Alternative Development Model, for which I have been working for 32 years continuously. And Japan has been my partner in this, in creating models, how a new model of development can basically serve humanity to sustain longer. I will not say it's a solution forever, but it will help humanity sustain longer, much, much longer than what we are doing today. So let me give you an example. When it's a debatable subject. When the current model of development started, some people say 300 years back, some say 350 years back. I believe it was 500 years back when human aspirations, a very small number of aspirants started this model by using the methods of extraction and exploitation. And it was nothing wrong into that because that was the only model available at that time for humanity. They created wealth and it continued. When the numbers of aspirants were limited and the resources were unlimited, this model was doing well. But today, my friends, it is the exact reverse of this, when the aspirants are unlimited. Even in Africa, someone can give you a lecture on how he can make Goldman Sachs to create wealth. It was a very exclusive thought process just 100 years back. Nobody else has the secret sauce. But today, the secret sauce. So my question is, can we afford to have a 1.5 billion people in Africa or 1.5 billion people in India to behave the way current model was used to create economies like America and Europe? And the answer is no, because resources are no more infinite. Only aspirants are infinite and resources are finite. So what we can do? We have options. Can we suppress the human aspiration? No, we can't, because that will create another conflict. So what can be done? So when I was working on bringing India and Japan together, we lacked a vision that what is that Japan and India can do together. So we proposed, let's do something which we can put the strength of Japan and India together and see what we can do for humanity together. And that's where the vision of the alternative development model came, where we said, can we replace the main component of the current model exploitation to empowerment. If we replace it by empowerment, and same model which we've been using for 500 years will be very effective and very, very useful. And many of the components which look like not working in the current model will start working. So this is how the ADM will continue for years, more than 3 decades. And now we have many examples of alternative development model which we have used in some African countries. India has more than almost close to $1 trillion investment done by Japan to create models which are basically empowerment based. It's a long debate. It's not simple to understand how just by one word of empowerment you have changed the entire architecture of the development model. So my question is, when we are talking about AI to enhance and empower the human societies, so why you are trying to empower a broken system or about to break system? Because the outcome will be much disastrous, because it will enhance, AI will enhance the performance by 10 times, 100 times, maybe 1,000 times. So why don't we work on the development model architecture also? And we do it together. So the transition from the current model to the new model of development, and not necessarily the new model is required by America or Europe, because they already made their model of development. But there are 80% of the world which has no baggage of development model. They were just governed by the world. They had no idea what to do to govern their own people. Now they are awakening, and I've been quite concerned by when I go to the countries which are not developed yet and go. So I have heard leaders saying, hey, for 500 years they did it. Now it's my turn to do it. And that's very scary. If they copy what was done in 500 years and continue to take, so we need to address that scary part and make them agree that it's not you versus us, or us versus you, or us versus them. It is about humanity. It is the wisdom of old model or current model and the resources of current model which will help create the new model. And that model can apply from location to location. What can work for America will not work for Africa. What can work for Africa will not work in India, or maybe work in India, but it will not work for Japan, or somewhere else. So with AIWS has mandate to create charter for governance of AI, and also the ethical digital assets creation. I think with ADM's thought process and AIWS's mandate and its mission, we can put it together. We can have better, much, much better results to count upon than just focusing on. And many people say that it doesn't matter which model of development you use, but AI will be effective. I disagree with that, because AI is just an enabler. It's not the subject or purpose. So those societies which will work to humanize the AI will thrive. Those who basically let AI divide between humans and machine will have challenges to face. Thank you very much. With this, I thank you, the board of BJF, for giving me this chance to talk about AI and ADM. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for those profound words that really resonate with the theme of today. Next, Glenn Weil, the Microsoft Research founder and chair of Plurality Institute, will speak with us about why Silicon Valley needs to get religion.
Thank you so much. I connect my computer on the side here. So this is based on joint work with Nina Lutz, who's so Nina is a, I don't have a slide changer, so I'll just speak here. I hope can everyone hear me? Yes? Okay, wonderful. So Nina is a graduate student at the University of Washington. She was my, thank you so much. She was my intern this summer. And this work is really inspired by my own personal experience. So I grew up in Silicon Valley in a neo-atheist family. I've been involved at the intersection of technology and politics since the age of 7 when I was on television talking about it. And the Silicon Valley world that I grew up in, my family, was incredibly hostile to religion. It was sort of relentlessly dismissive of religious people and religious communities. And this is reflected all over the place in shows like Silicon Valley. They have a famous show about the closeted Christians. And the heroes that we were brought up with, people like Isaac Asimov, Ayn Rand, etc., all had a sort of fiercely hostile attitude towards religion. And you also see it reflected in all kinds of practices. So for example, companies throughout the tech industry have DEI initiatives. They systematically survey on a range of characteristics to ensure balance. And yet, to my knowledge, none of them has considered the representation of religion and religious observance in any of these. And almost every one of these reports said it's an interesting area for future research. And the thing that really struck me as I began to work more with Taiwan and with Asia is how different it is in Asia. And this is actually quantitatively reflected in this wonderful book by Elaine Eklund and her colleagues, where she finds that in Taiwan, Japan, India, this is totally different. So rather than this separation and hostility between technology and science on the one hand and religion on the other hand, there's actually a feeling of collaboration. And in fact, people who are involved in those industries are actually more religiously observant than the rest of society on average. You see this reflected in all kinds of practices. In Taiwan, the core to the semiconductor success that they've had has actually been the spirituality and dedication and precision that people bring to their craft. In the Middle East, even the Museum of the Future in Dubai famously is covered in writing from the Quran. In Japan, in the Museum of the Future in Tokyo, you see the spirit of Shintoism, the animist notion, the notion of there being a spirit in everything, reflected in technology. Maybe more than anywhere in India, actually, according to The Economist, the majority of all the money going into the tech sector in startups is going into faith tech. Imagine that. Totally different atmosphere than in the West. And technology is being used to allow people to have embodied religious experiences, to transport themselves and surround themselves in spiritual realities, in religious observances, etc. And of course, Gurudev is an amazing example of a religious leader bringing technology deeply into the way that they transmit and invite people into their practices. I think it's critical that we learn from that experience because religion has so many critical things to bring to the technology industry. And I'll just give 3 examples. First, at the level of philosophy, the default attitude that dominates the technology industry comes from sort of economics and reductionist thinking, where everyone is an individual and then there's some grand social planner. And we see this reflected in AI, where there's a sort of centralizing tendency or an individuating tendency, and far too little consideration of community and social organization, the diversity of social groups that make us who we are, and as a result, has really been tearing apart a lot of the social fabric that is so critical to our societies. This is, a natural result of the simplistic ways in which we imagine science in the West. Of course, complexity science and other frames can help us avoid that, but it's very counterintuitive for people. You put it in a religious frame and that goes away. Hinduism, for example, gives us an incredibly powerful way to see diversity and unity in diversity. And that's the kind of intuition that we need to be brought to the design of our technologies, and that I think that approaches like plurality that I've worked on and AIWS are trying to help us see. And by bringing in the religious understandings, the religious metaphors, we can help people get past the simplistic scientific ways of thinking about things. I also believe that in politics, the politics around technology, religion is absolutely critical. We've seen this sort of extreme focus on accelerationism, on sort of AI development at all costs, on sort of national competition, which really undermines our ability to get to shared ethical understandings, to the normative understandings that are actually necessary for the technology to work at all. Because if it's not integrated into our social systems, if we're in a constant hype versus backlash mode, we will never build the productivity and the deep integration we need for these tools. And we've seen the role that religion has been able to play in that regard in biotechnology. It was critical to how we thought about cloning, how we thought about human embryos, et cetera. And we need something similar in the way we approach the politics of digital technology. And we're increasingly seeing that in the United States. The politics around AI use and the boundaries are increasingly driven by the participation of religious communities. And I think that if we want a sustainable development of technology, we need to welcome that in and make religious communities critical to the way we approach the regulation of AI. Finally, if we think about geopolitics, we often hear about the standard conflicts between China and the West. And we've fought those on the issue of democracy and surveillance, or on, trade spheres. But neither of those really speak to most of the people in the developing world. Those are not necessarily the terms in which they conceptualize their politics, and they don't want to be part of one camp or the other. But if instead we focus on the question of religious liberty, religious freedom, and religious empowerment in technologies, it's a much more resonant thing for people in Africa, for people in Latin America, for people in the Middle East. But unfortunately, at present, our technologies are not succeeding in providing that. In fact, when you do tests of the fidelity and empowerment of people to convey their faith values to their children, actually the Chinese models like DeepSeek are actually currently outperforming the leading models coming out of Silicon Valley, because there hasn't been that focus on including religious communities. So I think we really have to get past that and make it a core tenet of how we compete geopolitically. And that's why I think it's so critical that India, Bharat, Hinduism, and Gurudev become global symbols and leaders. Bharat has done incredible work on integrating the civil sector into the development of technology, not just about government, not just about private sector, but through things like India Stack and AI for Bharat, has really spread throughout the society the power of having the public sector invest, but actually civil sector manage the integration of technology. And I believe that's possible because there is cooperation between the third sector, which is really led by religious institutions, and technology in that society. And I really hope that we can look to Gurudev and to other leaders from India to step into a role of really teaching us in the West how we can have that collaboration between religion and technology, bring it into the technology development and into the process of technology diffusion. Thank you so much, and I look forward to your partnership. Please reach out to me.
Thank you. So with Kwan's leadership, the Boston Global Forum is designing a number of initiatives to be able to bring these concepts into action. One of these is the AIWS Esteemed Digital Assets program. And so, Tuan, do you want to explain that program?
Exactly tomorrow, we will have a very significant conference to talk about digital asset of Boston Global Forum. But today, we are in a very special day, Governor Michael Mukherjee's birthday, and today we honor Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. We introduce and announce that, you can present for Gurudev picture, okay. Gurudev picture, you need to, yeah, okay. So, 10 years already, and we have 12, so far 12 leaders, world leader for peace and security. And this is a very big, important digital asset. And Boston Global Forum issue and create world leader asset, digital asset. And we will do for film, for e-card and digital algorithm. And not only that, we don't make a cryptocurrency, we make digital asset. And tomorrow we will discuss initiative for standard, digital asset standard, AIWS digital asset standard. We need, and the world need, a very, very fairness, transparency, trusted digital asset for the world. And Boston Global Forum often pioneering in many area, and this time that we continue. 2017 Boston Global Forum very pioneering with model AI World Society, AIWS. Now there are a lot of things, a lot of ideas and concepts on AIWS happen, and we are pioneering from 2017. And today and tomorrow we will discuss and make initiative for standard, quality, and real value for digital asset. And today, very short, very historical moment, we announced Boston Global Forum issue digital asset of world leader for peace and security. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Next, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a friend and colleague and an esteemed world leader, Ramu Damodaran, founding and first chief of the United Nations Academic Impact and also permanent observer of the University for Peace, United Nations. And he will speak to us on the World Leader for Peace and Security Award recipients as the core BGF AIWS family, and that being the intersection, the world leader of spirit and interfaith. Thanks.
Thank you so much, David. And it's a privilege to be here with so many of you. We've had a very rich afternoon sharing in the wisdom, the good humor, and dare I say, the compassion of Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, and also the extraordinary efforts that the Boston Global Forum under Tuan puts forward every year in November as we celebrate individuals who have done so much for global peace and security, and now move to the next stage, which is that of celebrating and uniting the spirit that animates them. When we were driving to the faculty house this morning with my friend Min, we passed the Harvard Art Museum, and there's a wonderful poster outside of Vincent van Gogh and the words, "be immersed." And that's in a sense what the AIWS spirit is all about. Be immersed. Let us realize that no matter what the challenges, the distractions, the petty upsets of our lives every day, there is a far greater spirit that endures, that allows us to sail within its wings. Gurudev today used a very unusual expression. He said moral and spiritual values, which automatically leads one to believe that it's not automatic that spiritual is moral or moral spiritual. They are distinct. And what is spiritual is, in a sense, a manifestation of what lies within you, over which you may well have no control, but which your upbringing, which your passions allow you to nurture and to bring forward. And that, if you think of it, is what has sustained these 10 remarkable women and men whom the Forum has celebrated since 2015. They may have held political office for a moment. They may have been religious leaders within their own spheres. But what makes them one, what brings them that unity of purpose, is a spirit, no matter what you call it, divine, otherworldly, but ultimately completely human. A reflection of the power of the human mind. The mind, as David once quoted Hippocrates as saying, can be the source of joy as much as of madness. And the spirit can be that as well. It can take us forward on its wings to the promise that we seek and we hold dear. And yet, we can allow it to be perverted, to pervert it ourselves, to misuse it. And it is precisely for that reason that we build up the defenses which Tuan has spoken of a new model of democracy the world over, a model of enlightenment, where core values are animated by a core human perspective and a human dimension, and ultimately a world of ethics, because ethics too are not subject to individual whims. There is so much within the spirit of our lives that can be perverted, that it is for us to try and identify the one quality, the quality that we've seen manifest in two great representative nations of the world, Japan and India, in the presentations by Nakayama-san and Upadhyay-ji a little while ago, where they have shown how that transition takes place. Think of it. The United Nations, an organization I was privileged to serve for 30-odd years, has just celebrated its 80th birthday. What was the very first resolution that the United Nations adopted? The Charter was signed on June 26, 1945. The United Nations came to being on October 24, 1945. What happened in between? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that August. And so the very first resolution adopted was to address the problems created by the discovery of atomic energy. And you take that as the metaphor, that our discoveries of which we can be so proud, the discoveries upon whose wings we sail, those discoveries can be as much a source of madness as of joy. And we realize at that moment that if we are not to devote all our lives to constantly deal with problems raised by discoveries, we must allow those problems to be subsumed by something far greater, far more within ourselves to accommodate, to adopt, and yes, to control. The spirit of reflection and of change. And that is the beauty of it. Reflection can be a slow process. You can set yourself aside to think, to ponder, to analyze. It can be a brisk process, the spontaneous immediate reaction. And yet, all of those are dimensions of the spirit. And so when we take that further, we realize also one of the first things I had learned from Governor Michael Dukakis. I came to this country when it was getting ready for the 1988 presidential election. And I saw him on television one evening. And he said two things that have remained with me. The first being that we should distinguish men not by what they have, but who they are. Not what they possess, but what they believe. And then he went on to say, the problem is that each one of us has a public face and a private face. And none of us is willing to let both be like each other. Think of it, if we allowed our private faces, our private inclinations, our private needs or greeds to get together and to create a resurgent spirit of change, could we not have that in the same way as these unlikely women and men became leaders of peace and security? There was nothing in them when they were 5 or 6 or teenagers to suggest that course. But yes, they became that. Yes, they allowed themselves to be agents of that change. Yes, they allowed themselves to create a part of a future in which we all ecstatically joined because they had that spirit. And so today, standing in these hallowed halls, I urge you, no, I beg you, to be part of that spirit, to allow yourselves to change with the assurance that they allow themselves to change, and with the assurance that only you can bequeath your children, and only you can equip the world. Thank you.
Ravi, I never cease appreciating your wisdom and the way in which your eloquence is matched by your depth. And so thank you for sharing that with us. What we heard from Ravi also brings out some of these paradoxes, right? The nuclear technology and the dangers and the hopes. And now we're assembled here to address AI and the hopes and the dangers. And what we're hearing again and again is that it's up to us to play a role in making sure we tip the balance towards pro-social rather than anti-social usages of those technologies. Tuan, I don't know if you want to mention the AI film for Shinzo Abe and the AI concert as well, and that will help us understand the other activities that are related to this process.
Okay, and you are. Yes, we are both together. And Akiko. The whole our team of Shinzo Abe film, because you hear that Shinzo Abe is a co-leader for peace and security award and very dear friend of Boston Global Forum. So after he passed away 2022, we immediately launched Single Bay Initiative for Peace and Security. And this year, Boston Global Forum, we found and established AIWS Film Park as a new initiative, film with AI. AI assist for us to make film better and save cost also and faster. But that is the only assist for humanity, not replace, not lie the people. Yes, we try to make that is a film in AI. That means try to that is very, very finished and innovative and give value and for humanity, serve humanity. So Single film is the first film. We will deliver all information and we will start to take a film in January. We have a meeting in Japan and in Japan, and we continue have our team here. Nakayama is a great friend, younger brother of Zimbabwe, and he's a very good friend. Yubel is a very good friend of Zimbabwe. Yes, but Akiko is a young executive board. He's here. Sorry, today I'm not so good. So we will launch and start to present for public Zimbabwe film on July 8, 2026. The day Zimbabwe was assassinated. And we will do with Japan government, especially with Prime Minister Sanata Kaichi. She is a very dear friend of Boston Global Forum. 2023 Boston Global Forum honor present Sanata Kaichi, world leader in AI world society. And now she became Prime Minister. And we have letter and camp and calculation, and we will soon to meet and work and support for us. We respect admiration of my Sanata Kaichi very much, and Boston Global Forum fully support Sanata Kaichi. And so this is today very special day. We announced that Zimbabwe film today, and we hope all of us can contribute your ideas, make very new format, new ideas, new style, that very innovative style film in AI age. And we look forward to get your contribution. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your joy and we hope we will have good, very wonderful film, Zimbabwe film. And after that, we will do more with another world leader for peace, security, and world. And also, concert is we talk already with when I sit there because Gurudev have to go to airport to come back to India tonight, and so he cannot talk about the concert because Gurudev, he like music very much. He do festival, world peace festival and concert. You see that in video, and I will introduce a little bit. And I talk when Gurudev sit here together that we have concert for AIWS concert, and also that is world leader speech concert. This concert we will we have a cause for peace, for humanity, for innovation in age of AI, and we deliver and help and support for equality of opportunities for all people, all countries, and for humanity in AI age. And this concert will have format, will have very special music and art. We combine between classical, traditional, and modern and innovation. And why not? We have idea for the world, for better world. We can make a concert, we can make symphony, AIWS Peace Symphony also, because now most important, that is the ideas. We have ideas, we have concept for music, we have melodies. So AI can assist us make symphony faster and low cost. So we try to do that. That is that model and concept we will introduce with our people. And we will work with Gurudev to make at first that is the world leader spirit concert. Thank you. Now, for just today, that is the last section. We honor leader for peace and security. And 6 year also very special year. 30 year Vietnam and US partnership after big war, painful war. Now Vietnam and US is a great partnership. And from that story, we have the book, new book, and linked to AI society, and linked to Vietnam and the US, and my dear friends from Harvard University, Professor Tom Peterson, and also myself from Nha Trang. That is story for 30 years, Vietnam, the US partnership, and AIWS is a son of Vietnam and the US, because I brought traditional legacy from our country, our nation, our people, Vietnamese people. As my dear friend Nam Phan sit here, and he also support very much, contribute very much for AIWS a long time. That is the Vietnam, and we together with the US, that AIWS is a very, very fantastic story between the US and Vietnam. And the book, and we very honored have Mark Kennedy, our dear friend. He will talk about Vietnam's US relation. He recently is the lead speaker together with our Boston Global Forum to speak and discuss with Mr. Tô Lâm, Secretary General of Party of Vietnam, and I think most important leader of Vietnam at that time. And Glenn also that we are have to come back from London. So Mark came here to talk about Vietnam-US relation. So then Hằng, we honor to introduce Ms. Bùi Hằng. She is a publisher and editor-in-chief of tri thức, the knowledge publishing house, the novel publishing house in Vietnam. That publishing house published this book, and she will come and introduce about the book. Then Tom will talk about that, and Ramu he have a chapter in the book introduce about our friendship, and so I would like to invite Ramu to talk, and so last minute you contribute so much. Mark.
Well, thank you, Tuan, and I very much appreciated everybody's comments today, and a lot of great energy, a lot of great wisdom here at the Boston Global Forum. Tuan asked me to talk about the anniversary of the normalization of U.S. and Vietnam relations. As I look around the room, with my gray hair, I'm perhaps the only one that was around back as Professor Patterson as well back then, and we're both from Minnesota. And I began my life in an idyllic town called Pequot Lakes. It was a resort town surrounded by Minnesota's 10,000 lakes. And we were removed from the world's affairs, except one 4th of July, when anti-war protesters took over the downtown nearby in Nisswa. And then the Vietnam War intruded really into the quiet heart of America. My parents didn't really travel far, but they wanted us to understand the world, so they bought us an encyclopedia and subscription to National Geographic Weekly Reader. So I got a chance through them and through their pages to really see that outside world around me. But one of those countries, Vietnam, intruded into my childhood. My older cousin, Charlie, fought in the war, and I remember him coming back to the lakes and wearing his army boots. And those army boots really said more than any words could about the burden that his generation bore. Later on, when I was in Congress, I went to visit a Hmong refugee camp in Thailand. And flying back from Thailand was the first time that I really saw Vietnam, looking from the plane at that canopy, that endless canopy of green, and thinking about Charlie fighting underneath that canopy. As a father, I had a chance to go to visit my son, who was on a port call with the USS Ronald Reagan in Da Nang. And as I was standing there on the beach, I again thought about Charlie's boots, but I also thought about how far our countries have really come. Now, I might be bold, but I would suggest that America's engagement in the region really helped spur ASEAN, accelerated the development of the region, but also let them know that they didn't have to bow to authoritarian pressure. And the Southeast Asia that we know today, very vibrant and confident, in many ways the engagement of America had an impact on that. But what also had an impact was when in 1995, when President Clinton normalized the relationship between US and Vietnam. And that really was a hallmark of reconciliation. When you think about former enemies now coming together and being friends. And what we saw at that same time was Vietnam's doi moi, their openness. They also joined ASEAN. And what was accomplished through diplomacy was something that decades of conflict had not accomplished, to have an open, independent, regionally integrated Vietnam. And when you think about the fears about the dominoes falling, what we saw was the dominoes instead standing up and choosing cooperation over confrontation. If the motive back then was healing, the motive today is really resilience, helping partners become strong, sovereign, and secure in their independence. That is in America's interest, that's in Vietnam's interest. And when you think about the world from a geopolitical perspective, it's our allies, Japan, South Korea, Australia, the Philippines, Taiwan. They're the ones who really provide that deterrence against aggression. But it's really the neutral middle, beginning with Vietnam, but also Indonesia, Thailand, and Malaysia, Singapore. They will shape the region's future. If these nations remain open, independent, confident, and focused on creating norms that bring cooperation and freedom being secure, the Indo-Pacific will remain balanced and free. That is why Vietnam's independence and ASEAN's centralities really matter. Strong allies keep the peace, but trusted partners sustain it. And together, they must shape the rules that make that peace last. But to have this continue, we need two essential things to happen in order for Vietnam and Southeast Asia to remain independent. The first is they must preserve their technological sovereignty. In this digital world we have today, freedom depends on who builds your networks and who writes your code. the world will either be wired to empower people, as we just heard, or to control people. And I hate to say it, but Chinese companies bound by Beijing cyber laws are not private actors, but are really instruments of Chinese state control. We need to make sure that the region understands how you can wire your country in a way that keeps your country in charge, you independent. And that's in many ways what the engagement of Boston Global Forum has done, of going around, not just what Tuan talked about us when we had a chance to speak to To Lam, the leader of Vietnam, but all the work that is embodied in this work that Tuan and Professor Patterson put out. So I would commend that book to you. The other thing we need to do is make sure that they're economically independent, and that we have more work on to do. You know, we recently put tariffs on, particularly high tariffs for transshipments, to have kind of a club to try to reduce overdependence within the Chinese economic circle. But we need to recognize that we need to also give them a carrot, that America needs to find a way to have positive trade relations and continued strong investments to be able to diversify their economic relationships. You know, those got to be two continued priorities. Tuan and I had a chance to go to Hanoi, but our visit was cut short because we had a typhoon come in. So I missed a couple of places that I really want to go back to. One is St. Joseph's Cathedral, so I can pray for continued peace. And one is to the War Memorial, so I can better understand how Vietnam remembers this conflict that certainly shaped us. Yesterday was All Souls Day, so I would just dedicate my remarks to say, for all the souls, American, Vietnamese in the region, and those whose really suffering brought the progress that we have today. You know, it's really from those lakes in Minnesota, those beaches in Da Nang, and from the Trang to Boston, where we're really seeing reconciliation that is real, where we are finding former enemies engaging as trusted partners. And I would suggest that the true measure of history will not be the wars we win, but it'll be the peace that we sustain and the future that we build together. A great book. I recommend it to you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Now, Tuan, can you tell us a little bit about the initiative for America's 250th birthday, but also...
Yeah, please.
Oh, please.
The book. Yeah. I will conclude what faculty. Okay. Please.
Xin kính chào các quý ngài có mặt trong ngày hôm nay. Tôi tên là Bùi Thị Thu Hằng, là giám đốc của Nhà xuất bản Tri thức Việt Nam. Tôi rất là hạnh phúc khi là có mặt tại trường Đại học Harvard theo lời mời của diễn đàn toàn cầu lớp. Và hôm nay thay lời giới thiệu của tôi thì tôi xin trình bày cái video giới thiệu về cuốn sách của ông Thomas Patterson và Nguyễn Anh Tuấn được xuất bản tại Nhà xuất bản Tri thức Việt Nam và giới thiệu về một số cái hoạt động của Nhà xuất bản Tri thức Việt Nam trong 20 năm qua. Xin trân trọng kính mời quý vị theo dõi video đã trả lời.
So I'd like to translate to English. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thu Hằng, the editor-in-chief of Tri Thức Publishing House of Vietnam, who oversaw the publication of book author by Mr. Nguyễn Anh Tuấn and Dr. Thomas Patterson. At today's conference, I would like to share my remarks through a video message that will be presented shortly. I would now like to cordially invite all of you to watch the introductory video about the book AIWS-DASI, a 30-year US Vietnam publisher from Nha Trang to Boston, 1995 to 2025. Thank you.
The book, The AI's World Society, a 30-year US-Vietnam partnership from Nha Trang to Boston 1995-2025, reflections on peace, innovations, and shared destiny across 3 decades, co-authored by Professor Thomas Patterson. and Nguyen Anh Tuan is composed of 30 chapters divided into 2 parts. In part 1, written by Nguyen Anh Tuan, Experience and Creation comprised the first 15 chapters of the book through a narrative built upon his professional experiences, activities, and diplomatic relationships. This section offers readers a profound sense of values and impressions left in the heart of an intellect. It conveys Nguyen Anh Tuan's dedication, his sincere efforts, and his tireless commitment to giving, contributing, and achieving. His aspiration for creation is manifested in his desire to bring meaningful values to the people of his homeland, Vietnam, in its area of scientific and technological development, and to humanity at large through the concept and model of artificial intelligence. In part 2, written by Professor Clement Patterson, War for Vietnam and its people, consists of the remaining 15 chapters. In these chapters, Professor Clement Patterson recounts the deep affection and cherished memories of Vietnam, its people, its majestic mountains, its vast yet serene seas, and its breathtaking natural landscapes. Each page reflects the places he has visited and stayed in during his time in Vietnam, each of them a beautiful and enduring memory etched in his heart. This book represents the collaboration between 2 authors, one Vietnamese and one American, who came together in an unexpected yet harmonious way to create shared values of peace, innovations, and sustainable connection for the future. Treated Publishing House, under the Vietnam's Unions of Science and Technology Associations, has spent the past 20 years acquiring publishing rights and translating works from the Treasures of World Knowledge series, particularly the Treasures of American Knowledge collection. Today, the publishers have released 72 books, amongst which 6 belong to the World Knowledge Classics series, namely the book, The AI-World-Society, a 30-year US-Vietnam partnership from Nha Trang to Boston, 1995-2025, Reflections on Peace, Innovation, and Shared Destiny Across 3 Decades, by Professor Clement Patterson of Harvard University, and Nguyen Anh Tuan, marks a significant milestone in Treated Publishing House collaboration with the Boston Global Forum. This achievement was made possible under the leadership of Ms. Bùi Thị Thu Hằng, Acting Deputy Director and Deputy Director-in-Chief of Treated Publishing House. Mrs. Bùi Thị Thu Hằng holds a master's degree in law, major in human rights, and has served for 25 years as Ministry of Justice. In today's event, she represents a key figure in initiating and fostering the publishing partnership with the Boston Global Forum, as well as in participating in the AI Society Digital Access Standards Initiative Conference at the invitation of the Boston Global Forum. Looking to the future, Treated Publishing House and Boston Global Forum will continue to expand their collaboration, connecting with the academic institutions such as Harvard University, MIT, and the leading US publishers for joint publishing projects and other initiatives of shared interest. This partnership also aligns with Vietnam national policies and key policy resolutions, including Resolution number 57 NQTW, signed by December the 22nd, 2024, on breakthroughs in science, technology, innovation, and digital transformation. Resolution number 66 NQTW, signed by April the 30th, 2025, on innovation in lawmaking and implementation to meet the nation's development needs. Resolution number 68 NQTW, signed by May the 4th, 2025, on private sector development and international cooperation. These frameworks create new opportunities for Vietnam to enhance its engagement with the Boston Global Forum, US institutions, and other global partners in pursuit of shared vision for an artificial intelligent world society. Thank you all for your kind attention and support. I wish you continued success and good health.
My very dear friend, Tom, please, he is this year we celebrate 20 years special friendship. And I talked with Tom many times. I never seen any friend like Tom. Tom, very special friend in my life. And Tom is a professor to bring me to Harvard Kennedy School 2011 when I left Vietnam like a new chapter. And this is a very, very dear friend, and we are very, today I'm so moved together with my dear friend.
So I was quite humbled watching the tribute to the this year's recipient of the excuse me, the
world leader for peace and security, all the bridge building that he's done over the years between cultures and people. This book is a small story of bridge building. It's a story of Tuan and my friendship. And the large story in it is the story about the creation of the Boston Global Forum, the AIWS, AI World Society, all of the activities that Tuan and I have been engaged in since we met in 2007. But I thought I would share with you the kind of the personal side of it and what it was that brought Tuan and I together. So my first exposure to Vietnam was a young lieutenant in the U.S. Army. And I was in Special Forces, what Americans call the Green Berets. And that meant I was an advisor to the Vietnamese. I lived and worked with Vietnamese more than I did with the Americans. I couldn't speak any Vietnamese. I knew almost nothing about the culture when I arrived. So I was very heavily dependent on my wonderful interpreter, Lam Ki. And he set me straight on a couple of things and had me do a couple of things I think that made a small difference. On Buddha's birthday, for the first time in our compound, there appeared a basket of fruit outside the gate in tribute to Buddha. But he couldn't protect me from myself. I was the paymaster, among other things, so that we had a fairly large workforce of Vietnamese. Now, to some degree, they were involved in things like hardening our compound, but for the most part, they were engaged in civic action projects. We built a small clinic. That area didn't have a clinic. We built a school. That area didn't have a formal school building, things of that kind, winning hearts and minds. So every Friday, the workers would get paid. On Thursday, a helicopter would come in to our airstrip and give me a bag about this big full of money to pay the workers. And I'd been there about 2 months, and I thought, these people are really skilled. They work hard, totally reliable. They came to work every day, and I thought maybe it's time for a raise. So when they came to the table to get their raise, their paycheck, their pay for the week, there was a 20% addition to their pay. Right. And I thought, oh, this is a wonderful thing to do. They're fully deserving of it. Well, the next morning at the gate to our compound, there were about 20 people at the gate wanting to speak with me. And I came in and they were quite respectful. And they said, you can't do this. It will destroy the wage scale in the area, right? Everyone else will expect the same amount of pay. So I listened, and the next Friday I explained to them that that was a one-time bonus, and they'd be going back to their normal pay. Now, there's a wonderful geographical coincidence that links Tuan and myself. So in our unit, you spend about half your time in what we call the field in a combat and civic action role, and the other half you spent in a support role. So halfway through my tour here in Vietnam, I went up to Special Forces headquarters, which happened to be located in Nha Trang, which was the most beautiful place I'd ever seen. It's on the South China Sea. You look out in the harbor, it's dotted with islands. The water is this wonderful blue kind of turquoise color. I thought I'd kind of landed in paradise. And our headquarters was located halfway up the Green Mountains that rise above Nha Trang. And we'd flattened a large area up there for the buildings that constituted our headquarters. So that's where I spent the last part of my tour. So then Tuan comes to the Kennedy School in 2007 as a resident fellow at the Shorenstein Center, where I was the acting director at the time. And in our conversations, I find out that after the reunification of Vietnam in 1975, his family moved from the north to Nha Trang. After school, in those days, Vietnam suffered severe economic hardship in the aftermath of the war. Food supplies were very scarce. They had a community garden, a very large community garden. And the high school students would go up to that garden after school, weed the garden, tend to the vegetables and the like. That garden was built on the site of our headquarters. The only flat area up on the hills around the track. I think that little piece of geographical proximity, even though at different times, was the start of a really kind of close bond with Tuan. And then our discovery that we shared so many values and so many aspirations. Now the book is largely the story, not of that friendship, but of what's come out of that friendship, like the Boston Global Forum and the like. But that friendship means a lot to me, and I hope the book expresses it. And it deepened in 2011. Tuan, as many of you know, had wired Vietnam. He brought the internet to Vietnam, and out of that grew Vietnam Net, an online newspaper that in 10 years became the largest source of news in Vietnam. And Tuan was pushing the envelope. So in 2011 at the party Congress, when you had the change of leadership, it was clear that it was Tuan's time to leave the country and step down as the editor-in-chief of that pushing the envelope was no longer quite so welcome in Vietnam. And we were able to bring him back to the center for 3 years in the position of center associate. And we rarely give that position to anyone, but Tuan could come in and help us in our digital transformation very much as he helped Vietnam with its digital transformation. So we had another 3 years of daily contact. But the other thing was, again, geographical proximity. When Tuan came in 2011, he decided he was going to buy a house in Boston. And he bought a house in the street over from mine, so that we're a 5-minute walk apart. That means lots of lunches, lots of dinners, lots of times to get together. And out of those conversations sprung things like the Boston Global Forum. But always in our thinking about the initiatives that we worked on together was, how do we advance this relationship, this special relationship between Vietnam and the US that means so much to the two of us? And so foremost in our thinking at almost every step is kind of where's Vietnam's piece in what we're doing and what we're thinking about. And so for example, last May in this building, we had a conference that brought together film industry leaders from Vietnam and the United States to think about how Vietnam could play a larger role in the film industry. And out of that came a vision of Nha Trang, again, this place that where Tuan and I kind of overlap in terms of history, that Nha Trang could be the center of that AI-centered, state-of-the-art film studio that could put Vietnam on the map in the film industry. But the book is really about how friendship, the small friendship that has deepened over the years, how it can be kind of illustrative of how those small things that connect countries can be so meaningful when you multiply them many times over. So I hope that the book serves as an inspiration for others to think about those cultural connections and how together we can create a more linked and more peaceful world. So thank you for, and I can only read half this book, so I still need an interpreter when I touch Vietnam. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom, for sharing that with us, because in many ways, I'm a follower in your footsteps in what is to me right now a particularly poignant moment, looking at this vast framework, if you will, about the relationship between the United States and Vietnam, and personalizing it in the person and the presence of the individual who brought it home to me, Tuan. And my knowledge and friendship with Tuan was almost synonymous with my knowledge and my friendship with you, Tom. And I'm very grateful to both, because hostility and suspicion between countries that have been at war persist. Ceasefires do not seize the conflagrations of the heart or mind. And if you look at what many in the United States thought of Vietnam as late in the 1990s, or what people in Vietnam thought of the United States, one is tempted to paraphrase your phrase, Tom, about the internet, that on one hand, it can be a gold mine of solid content, and on the other, it can be a hellhole of misinformation. And that is what people regarded each other's country as. And the conventional way to restore trust and affection and friendship between nations is to begin at the government level, and often to do it in the country considered less advantaged. In other words, the United States close to Vietnam. But here we had a remarkable story of an entrepreneur in Vietnam, an entrepreneur who specialized in the subject of mathematics, but went on to the far more volatile and yet rich arena of information and communication, and who brought that legacy from Vietnam to Boston, to the intellectual capital of the United States, and working with friends like Tom, created the Boston Global Forum. And for me, I cannot put days or times or years to the moments of the friendship that I cherish with Tuan. I cannot keep pace with the initiatives he launched for the forum, the new ideas which kept on coming. And yet, what was remarkable about Tuan is that new ideas built upon, they never displaced the old. Because you can always tell a dilettante from a person who is serious about purpose. If an idea is good enough for you to put it forward in the first place, it is good enough to remain and to be strengthened. AIWS is just that, the Artificial Intelligence World Society. The global social contract is just that. You keep on incrementally adding to them. And so we have the World Leader for Peace and Security Award. You have the Peace and Security Spirit idea. And all of these are centered in that one mind of the one individual I'm proud and humbled to count as a friend. He makes very few demands in friendship. The demands he makes are spontaneous and generous. And occasionally you have to tell him that you may not be the best person for what he has in mind. And he accepts that and moves on. But ultimately, at the heart of all this is the strength of friendship and a strength of enduring belief in the possibilities of two nations working together. But even more important, two peoples working together. The peoples of Vietnam and the United States, in the context of this book, the peoples of Vietnam and Japan, as we have seen in the film and the memorial to Shinzo Abe, the people of Vietnam and India, as Mr. Pandya shared with us, and I'm proud to belong to that fraternity. And each of these is the Tuan we know, cherish, respect, and love. We are proud that you have introduced us to your family here, your wonderful children, and all that they have done. And I think they, like us, are proud to belong to you and for you to belong to us. Thank you.
thank you so much for my very dear friends. It's a very nice word, kind word about me. And everything I work and succeed with Boston Global Forum, with AI Society, is from my dear friends. My dear friends inspire me, contribute, and together with me, work together with my children. So I think every nice word, any kind word you talk about me, about Boston Global Forum, about my dear college at Tom, at my dear friends. Today, and many cannot come here today because busy. That is thank you very much. And this book also I thought that is the sun between American and Vietnamese. I'm proud about Vietnamese people. We have very, very great tradition and very, very humanity, tolerance, compassionate, and innovation. So I'm from that, and I came here. I learned from the US, from Harvard. It's in my book. I thought I learned a lot. I came to Harvard Business School AMP with my friend Malcolm here also. So changed my life and very much. That means I learned bring from traditional from Vietnam and learn from the US. So combined, we have Boston Global Forum, we have AI Society, we have significant initiative for the world. And that means only start a lot great thing ahead, and we look forward work together with all our dear friends. And thank you so much for my dear friend contribute for the book, and also thank you so much, Ravi, very dear friend, very, very kindly about my bio. So I don't use my bio. I don't write my bio. Ramu write about me. That is my bio. So I introduce every conference and event. Asido Bay conference in Japan. This March, my bio that Ramu write, and also in my book, Ramu writing about my that is my portrait and also the book. Thank you. So we have great afternoon already, and we will meet and continue for tomorrow. But tomorrow we will in a Low House opposite here lecture. Today we don't have house, we have seat there, a room there, so we organize it. But tomorrow we will there. But before finish and conclude this conference, I would like to say for next year, we look forward that is the 250th year of the West independent. And Boston Global Forum, we will do very much contribute for the very special role of the US in AI age, how the US continue leading, continue contribute for the world in the age of AI as a beacon of light in the age of AI. And we will contribute initiative. And the US, not only for the US, the US is a very good, important model and continue improve, continue innovative for future. And I think by that way, inspire very, very much people, including me, from Vietnam. I very inspired and love American culture and traditional very much. And I see now American is my country, my nation also. Even I'm Vietnamese citizen, not American citizen yet. But I think American great. Boston is great. So how we can make that great? Not make great again. Make great already. Great already, not again. We are great already. And now we great in the age of AI. And we continue to compete with many countries and collaborate with our dear friends, Japan, India, European countries, EU, the same value, same foundation and common. And Boston Global Forum, we will try to do very much to contribute for the US, I mean for the world, to build that is a beacon of light in the age of AI. We have series program, series event, and together we do for I think the better. And the US, I like, and the US often I talk with Tom, and the US always see ourselves, see again and criticize ourselves to change, to improve, to develop. The US, that is great. The US, I say with many countries, many people, when I get to Japan, Europe, something like that. So I love that innovation, ecosystem, innovation mindset, and in the life, in the product. So basically, we look forward for celebrate and contribute, celebrate by contribute to build the US 250 years as a beacon, a blind in the AI. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for my dear friend came here. All our staff also, staff and people came here. And here, look forward to see you tomorrow at the Blue House.
I'm not at the meeting tonight, so that's you next time. Wonderful.